Britain isn't broken. It's being broken. Actively, deliberately, structurally. Its workforce are skilled. Its resources are vast. Its potential is massive. But they are all redirected through state-backed racketeering into the machinery of global destruction. The war economy isn't just violent, it's small-minded. It's the theft of potential. They take some of the most skilled technical workers and engineers on Earth, and they funnel them into factories that keep the world burning and bombing. They tell you this is the only way. Divestment from the military-industrial complex is risky. We might lose jobs. That peace doesn't pay. That's a lie. It's not just brutal, it's absurd. A nation that funds fighter jets while letting bridges collapse. That's sending bombs abroad while its rivers are filled with sewage. That praises veterans while criminalising artists that speak for peace. What could Britain build instead of war? If Britain defunded the arms trade and redirected those skills, it could create a permanent public workforce, a national infrastructure cooperation. Engineers, electricians, fabricators, data technicians, they could be tasked with things like retrofitting every home in Britain to have zero emissions, replacing crumbling bridges, tunnels and water systems, building storm walls, sea defence, solar farms, heat pumps, replacing diesel buses with electric fleets, expanding national rail into towns currently trapped by car dependency. The same engineers building drone guidance for Israel could be doing this. The same machinists fabricating F-35 parts could assemble turbine hubs or rail support. The same project managers running logistics for MOD contracts could be running supply chains for civil rebuilds. There are billions of pounds going into weapons R&D, when university R&D hubs could be focusing on open source green technology. You could have regional training institutes in climate resilient agriculture, energy storage, rail mechanics. Instead of building bombs, Britain could become a global repair centre, exporting its knowledge, not weapons. The BAE Systems site in Barrow could focus instead on offshore wind assembly, modular flood defence protection. Thales in Bristol could be focused on battery cell research and production. Raytheon's site in Glenrothes could focus on agricultural drone production for food mapping, not surveillance. And Kinetic in Farnborough could focus instead on civil aviation retrofit and sustainable flight technology. All you'd have to do here is keep the skills but redirect the contracts. That would end Britain's dependency on the military-industrial complex. Instead of using war factories that barely keep towns alive, British wealth, all that private wealth, could be funding cooperative housing bills in deindustrialised regions, local food systems connected to public kitchens and schools, town-based fabrication labs for parts, tools, tech, ending the corporate supply chain dependency. You could have universal childcare and social care employment funded entirely from divested military budgets. Real security is not in manufacturing war. It's in having rail lines that don't collapse during heat waves, flood infrastructure that's ready to protect the entire country, homes that are not bleeding energy, food that doesn't rely on imports, and kids not growing up normalising armed violence in the name of jobs. Britain is the second largest arms exporter in the world, but arms makes up less than 1.5% of the GDP. These jobs and funds could be redirected. It just needs political will and some structured planning. Pensions can divest. Councils can reallocate. Workers can retrain. Public procurement can prioritise resilience over destruction. If you wanted to, you could turn Barrow into Britain's climate flood defence capital, Wharton into a hub for electric train assembly. Bristol could be a world leader in non-military drone technology. The British state is an empire in recovery. It's addicted to its war returns. But war jobs are the cruelest kind of economic control. They keep your village alive by keeping other people dead. The public marched, hundreds of thousands, calling for ceasefire, holding signs, risking arrest, demanding accountability. And at the exact same time, their pensions were being embezzled into genocide. Elbit secured $760 million in ammo sales in 2023 alone, and over $409 million in new aerial munitions contracts just this year, 2025, so far. These are not one-off spikes. They are part of a long-term industrial strategy that is embedded in Israeli state policy, the Blue and White Plan. The UK is structurally embedded in Israeli airstrikes. UK F-35 components are valued at £336 million. They form 15% of the jets used in Gaza, and export licenses were issued during bombardment. UK companies like BAE and Rolls-Royce are essential links, not minor suppliers. The banks are the scaffolding. Barclays is a confirmed major arms financier with £36.1 billion in loans and underwriting connected to arms companies. BNP Paribas alone loaned $5.7 billion, while other names, UBS, Deutsche Bank, are all entangled. Public money is being embezzled in genocide. Pension funds like Avon manage £6 billion of UK council worker pensions, and they hold that money in shares in arms companies profiting from this war. Avon's not alone. Their Norwegian government pension fund and Allianz are involved too. Elbit's owner profits personally. Michael Federman owns 43.9% shares in Elbit. This is a direct wealth pipeline from Gaza airstrikes to a single billionaire. This personal relationship shows how military production directly drives private enrichment. Lockheed Martin rejected human rights proposals from its own shareholders. A proposal to align lobbying with human rights principles was defeated. This confirms that institutional investors, not just manufacturers, are actively shielding war crimes when there's money involved. There are massive undisclosed US weapons transfers. Over 244 planes and 20 ships moved 15,000 bombs and 50,000 shells to Israel in the first 2 weeks after October 7th. Only 2 of those sales were ever disclosed publicly out of over 100. This is more controlled opacity to protect the supply chain. There's no neutrality in pensions anymore. Many pension funds claim defence is legitimate, or we don't invest in banned weapons. But research shows these funds are reopening to firms like Airbus and Thales. Common security is now a narrative used to justify direct investment in active arms exports. This is defended as passive complicity. It's not. It's informed financial adaptation to a war-driven economy. Political money laundering is active and deliberate. The £4 million donation to UK Labour from Quadrature Capital, a hedge fund with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman in its holdings, was timed just before the disclosure window. That is regulatory evasion in plain sight. A calculated delay to protect the narrative. Avon Pension Fund is investing in the weapons used in Gaza. As of December 2024, £18 million of APF money, that's pensioner money, is invested in aerospace and defence. These investments include BAE Systems, General Dynamics, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Thales, Rheinmetall, and Saab. These are the companies supplying the fighter jets, the bombs, the artillery used by the Israeli military. That is public money. APF serve 140,000 members. This includes local councils, universities, and schools in the Avon area. Employer pension schemes operated for Avon include Bath and North East Somerset Council, North Somerset Council, the University of Bath, Bath Spa University, the City of Bristol College and Weston College. If you work for or attend any of these institutions, you're funding genocide with your pension. You're complicit in arms sales. You have a pension portal. You are entitled to know where your money goes. You can contact your HR team, your union, APF directly, and Brunel Pension Partnership, which manages the investments. Ask them, why are we investing in weapons used on civilians? Let them know you do not consent to your wages being used to fund companies who are under active investigation for war crimes. I'll leave full details of the Avon pension scheme and where you can go to object to this in the doobly-doo.